This podcast is brought to you by Three Rivers Energy Partners. In today's episode of Digest This, 2025 is expected to see $580 billion put into data centers globally.
More than 200 million households hit by energy infrastructure disruptions in 2023.
U.S. Department of Energy to boost rare earth element supply and reduce the reliance on just a couple of countries. Welcome to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, where we dive deep into the latest developments in sustainability and renewable energy. Join us in exploring the pioneering solutions and technologies that are shaping our future. Now, let's dive into today's episode.
Welcome back to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future. I'm Alex, here with Emily. Emily, you ready for another wild ride through the world of energy security?
Oh, absolutely, Alex. Anyone who thinks energy trends are dull hasn't opened up the latest World Energy Outlook. There's a lot changing, fast. Remember how in earlier episodes we talked about how China kind of became the energy epicenter, driving oil and gas demand, and even electricity for the last decade or more?
Yeah, totally. What's fascinating now, according to the new WEO report, that baton's being passed. We're seeing India, Southeast Asia, plus a whole range of emerging economies in Africa and Latin America really starting to shape global energy market dynamics. I mean, China still looms large, but no one country or even group is repeating that same level of energy-intensive growth. It's not a carbon copy of what we saw before.
Exactly. And what's wild is, it's not just about who's using oil or how quickly gas demand is rising. We're in what the IEA calls the age of electricity. This is new. Demand for things like data centers, artificial intelligence. I mean, honestly, the scale of new investment in digital tech is outpacing what we're seeing with traditional fuels. It's kind of mind-bending. 2025 is expected to see $580 billion put into data centers globally. That actually surpasses what's being spent on oil supply.
Right. Data is the new oil might finally be more than just a catchy line. And it's not just happening in countries that are usually first with this sort of thing. Advanced economies, emerging economies, they're all seeing this leap in electricity demand. So we've got this landscape where mobility and industry still need their energy, but suddenly things like AI, machine learning, these huge digital loads, they're front and center. And man, that changes the whole energy game.
It really does. And if you zoom out, you see that the demand is more spread out geographically than what we were used to with China alone. There's diversification, but also a new patchwork of needs and vulnerabilities. It kind of connects back to how we've talked before about decarbonizing cities or scaling tech for sustainable transportation. The players are different, and so's the risk profile.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's no single playbook for these emerging regions, or even for advanced economies as they shoulder new data and tech-related loads. It's really a complex moving target, and it sets up the security questions that are just, well, they're keeping a lot of folks up at night, right?
Oh, yeah, and that complexity is just going to say it's everywhere. We used to talk about energy security almost as code for oil and gas. You know, all the geopolitics, the classic supply risks. But now it's so much broader. The World Energy Outlook highlights risks not just for fuels, but across grids, minerals, and technologies that we didn't even think about much 10 years ago.
It's not just about pipelines or tankers getting blocked anymore. Now it's like the entire ecosystem from the ground up, literally sometimes. The WEO points out how vulnerable we are with supply chains for critical minerals. There's, one country refining 19 out of 20 strategic minerals that are foundational for everything from batteries to EVs to those shiny AI chips. I always get the number mixed up, but I think the average market share for one player is like 70%. It's just, yeah, risk central.
You got it. That's right. The report definitely says 70% average control for these key energy minerals. And just to drive it home, these aren't just materials for clean tech. We're talking AI infrastructure, defense applications, even jet engines. These minerals are the stuff that modern economies and security frameworks are being built on. The geographic concentration, especially for things like nickel and cobalt, it's actually increased since 2020. Not exactly reassuring.
No, it's not. And, the report's pretty blunt. Reversing this mineral concentration, it's looking like a slow process. Governments are going to have to get a lot more proactive. Diversification, more international partnerships, heck, more recycling, as we chatted about a few episodes back. The stakes are bigger now because these minerals feed both the old and new energy security issues. Think about what happens if one refinery or region hits a snag. It ripples everywhere, especially through electricity and tech supply chains.
And that brings us full circle to why energy security is more complicated, but also more urgent. We've seen efforts in the U.S. Department of Energy to boost rare earth element supply and reduce reliance on just a couple of countries, but globally, action's still catching up to the risk. It's not just a technical challenge, it's a geopolitical balancing act. So it's not just about keeping the lights on anymore, it's about securing what powers the lights, the servers, even the algorithms that keep things running.
Totally. There's big talk right now about how if we want to keep moving forward, grow more renewables, electrify more stuff, roll out more EVs, we need to treat these material and tech supply issues as energy security, not just an industrial problem. It's pretty different from when we started this podcast series, huh?
So let's tie it together because all these risks and demand shifts come crashing together in the grid. And honestly, the grid's looking like the next big bottleneck. The IEA's outlook spotlights this gap. We've seen investments in power generation, like solar and wind, surge by almost 70% since 2015. But annual spending on grid upgrades? That's been a lot slower, less than half the pace. The result is we might have enough renewables coming online, but if the grid can't carry and balance all that electricity, we risk, making the whole thing a lot less resilient.
And speaking of resilience, I saw that stat in the Outlook that just made my jaw drop. More than 200 million households hit by energy infrastructure disruptions in 2023 globally. It's wild, but it's also kind of a wake-up call. Most of those incidents were due to damage in transmission and distribution networks, power lines, the stuff nobody notices until blackout season rolls around. About 85% of incidents were grid-related, not generation shortfalls.
That's huge. And the pressure's only mounting as climate risks rise. Think more extreme weather, more blackouts, more vulnerability to cyber attacks, and plain old equipment failure. That's why the WEO is flat out saying, if we don't invest more in grid modernization and system flexibility, everything from storage to smart controls, even the best renewables pipeline won't cut it for a sustainable future.
Right, and the scenarios the Outlook maps out all agree on a few things, like solar PV breaking records for growth and nuclear energy staging a bit of a comeback. I mean, after decades in the sideline, nuclear's set to jump at least a third by 2035. And on the gas side, US and Qatar are booming in LNG export capacity, so it's not like the old energy is going away instantly. But, and this is big, where all that gas actually gets used is still a big unknown, especially as demand fluctuates in response to price and policy.
Yeah, and all this shines a light on how much we still need investment coordination and, honestly, a bit more cooperation, not just within countries, but across borders. Otherwise, these vulnerabilities, whether they're climate-driven, tech-driven, or plain old geopolitics, will just keep tripping up the transition. It makes you appreciate all those public-private partnerships we discussed recently, like the biogas fleet upgrades in Philadelphia or the Midwest's solar expansions. It takes a lot of pieces moving together.
Absolutely, and that's a lot to chew on for today. As the energy system morphs, the tough questions don't get any simpler, but if there's anything we take away from this outlook, it's that resilience, diversification, and good old-fashioned cooperation are going to be key pillars. Emily, appreciate your insights as always. Ready for round 2 next week?
Oh, definitely, Alex. Thanks for making this fun and, for helping keep the big picture in focus. For everyone listening, stay curious, stay skeptical, and we'll be back soon to dig even deeper into what's behind the next energy headline. Bye for now, Alex.
See you, Emily, and thanks to all our listeners for joining us on Digest This. Take care. Thank you for listening to Digest This, Unpacking Our Sustainable Future, a Three Rivers Energy Partners podcast. Three Rivers Energy Partners is a renewable energy company that empowers organizations with the ability to create a sustainable future by converting organic waste streams into renewable energy and resources. To get the latest episode of Digest This, or to find out more about Three Rivers Energy Partners, visit threeriversenergy.com or find us on LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. The sustainable future is being created right now. Keep exploring and keep up to speed with the latest in renewable energy and sustainability. See you next time.